Podcast, BIPSI hosts a drug awareness presentation, and Caddo Parish gets a grant to make schools safer.
A fifth church is vandalized, making investigators rethink the motive, and Jussie Smollett was back in court again.
We've also got Abby Colvin with a look at the most recent weather forecast.
And Caleb Lemon has an all-new sports update. The BIPSI News is off and running.
From the studios at Bossier Parish Community College, this is BIPSI News.
Welcome into the BIPSI News for Wednesday, October 23rd. I'm James Farrar.
And I'm Shaquille Jefferson. Let's begin today with a look at what's going on around campus.
The Gay Straight Alliance at BIPSI has been hosting a supply drive for the Port City Cat Rescue that continues through the end of the month. According to the rescue, they have a need for a variety of items, including bleach, trash bags, paper towels, Purina cat chow, laundry detergent, and Lysol or Clorox wipes. Donations are being accepted in Building H, Room 120. If you would like to donate but have questions or need more information, contact Melissa Shepard at 318-678-6096.
As part of National Red Ribbon Week, BIPSI will host a drug awareness presentation in Building C on Thursday, October 24th at 12:30 p.m. The speaker for the event is Purple Heart and Valor Award recipient Agent Greg Walker, a 15-year veteran Shreveport police officer and a 11-year veteran of the Shreveport Police Special Response Team, SWAT. Walker is also the co-director of a nonprofit entitled First Chance that seeks to provide training and increase understanding and combat trauma care for police officers, first responders, and civilians alike. The presentation is free and students are encouraged to attend.
The deadline to turn in nominations for Homecoming Court is this Friday, October 25th at 12 p.m. in Building F, Room 220. All Homecoming Court nominees must be planning to attend BIPSI next spring semester, have and maintain a 2.0 cumulative GPA or higher through the fall semester, be a full-time student in good standing enrolled in 12 hours or more, and be nominated by a student organization, academic department, or faculty staff member. The election will be open from November 6th at 8 a.m. until 12 p.m. November 8th, and the results will be announced later that day in Building F.
The deadline to enter the BIPSI Talent Show is coming up this Friday, October 25th at 12 p.m. Entry forms can be found in Building F, Room 220, and also currently enrolled students are eligible. This year's show will be held on Saturday, November 2nd at 6 p.m. in the theater. First place gets $500 cash prize. Students can get in free with their school ID or $5 without.
When we come back, Shreveport Mayor Adrian Perkins is hoping that a mistake he made in year one will help him avoid trouble this time around.
But first, let's take a look with Abby Colvin and see what the forecast is going to look like the rest of the week.
I'm Abby Colvin with BIPSI Weather, and we'll be back after the break.
Type 1 diabetes can be living in anyone. It comes in all shapes, sizes, different colors, forms.
Type 1 diabetes is when your pancreas doesn't produce insulin. It's not caused by your diet. It's not caused by anything you did.
Type 1 diabetes can be very serious.
I ended up in the hospital for some 2 weeks.
My biggest fear for myself is losing my vision.
My biggest fear of T1D today, this disease, will probably be what kills me.
It's not always predictable.
It's constant worry to be in charge of my daughter's health. I go in multiple times to make sure she's still breathing and that her heartbeat is still there.
It just never gives you a second off, really.
It is hard, but with friends, family pushing me every day to be strong, that's what helps me get along.
I do have a lot of highs and a lot of lows. It's not easy to explain. It's not easy to just take out my meter and check my sugar in front of everyone. And
I think my biggest accomplishment is probably getting used to all the shots and finger sticks.
I prick my finger a lot. I prick my finger every time I check my blood, and that's over 8-10 times a day.
And it's an everyday thing that we have to do to live in the world and survive.
It is so frustrating that there are so many misconceptions about T1D, and people think that it's not a constant struggle, but it is.
My biggest dream definitely is to find a cure.
My dream for T1D is to have no diabetes when I go to college.
There will be a cure for this. I don't know that I believed that when I was first diagnosed, and I think we're close. We just need to keep that momentum going.
Learn more about type 1 diabetes.
Help JDRF find a cure.
T1D looks like me.
T1D looks like me.
T1D looks like me.
This is is Abby Caldwell with Bipsy Weather. Let's take a look at the current temperatures. In Marshall at 75, in Nacogdoches at 76, in Texarkana and Ruston at 75, and in Minden and Natchitoches at 77. Now let's head over to Bipsy. It's 73 degrees here, the humidity is 91%, the dew point is 45 degrees, and the wind's coming in south at 12 miles per hour, and the sun sets at 6:35 p.m. Now let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. On Thursday, there's a high of 78 and a low of 55. On Friday, there's going to be a 65% chance of rain with a high of 60 and a low of 50. Saturday, there's going to be a 55% chance of rain with a high of 64 and a low of 47. And on Sunday, there's a 10% chance of rain with a high of 70 and a low of 48. And on Monday, it's going to be partly cloudy with a 5% chance of rain with a high of 67 and a low of 53. This is Abby Caldwell. Let's take it back to the news desk.
The U.S. Department of Justice is giving more than $85 million to schools across the country and hopes that it will help improve security measures. Caddo Parish schools were awarded $250,000 of that, and they will use the money to aim towards middle and high schools where faculty will receive training to spot mental health issues in students, as well as additional training on suicide and bully awareness and prevention.
Following a controversy over switching out the city's lucrative plans to his hand-picked agents, Shreveport Mayor Adrian Perkins is hoping that the renewal process coming up, it will be a much easier process this time around. Perkins has formed a committee to renew insurance bids and recommend coverage. The committee features 3 top members of the administration as well as City Councilman James Fleury, who has an insurance background and has been critical of the mayor's previously, including during last year's switch.
A 5th church vandalism in a predominantly African-American community has prompted the local police to seek out the help of federal authorities as they are now investigating the possibility that the actions are hate crimes. In total, 5 churches in Crowley have each had a glass door or window broken by a heavy object at night in the past 4 months. While Police Chief Jimmy Broussard said he considers the actions to be hate crimes, with all of the churches targeted so far being in a predominantly African-American community, and with 3 of the churches being historically black, he also added that he could not confirm whether the vandalism was racially motivated and added that they are taking it very seriously.
The Center of Disease Control and Prevention says there are 20 confirmed cases of a rare polio-like virus in the U.S. so far this year, and new leads as to what may be behind it are pointing towards a common, typically harmless virus. Meredith Wood has more in today's Health Minute.
Researchers have new hope in pinpointing what is behind the scary polio-like illness that impacts children. Acute flaccid myelitis, or AFM, usually occurs around this time of year and mainly affects children. According to a study published in the journal Natural Medicine, a virus could be the culprit, specifically enterovirus strains D68 and A71. Using a virus hunting tool, scientists examined the spinal fluid of patients for an immune response to thousands of viruses. Of the 42 patients with AFM that were tested, 70% had antibodies from those 2 strains of the enterovirus. What's still unclear, however, is why a virus that causes 10 to 15 million infections a year in the U.S. only causes paralysis in less than 1% of infected children. Early symptoms of enteroviruses mirror those of a common cold: cough, congestion, fever, before becoming more concerning.
What is alarming and what very frightening is that they suddenly develop weakness. Typically it's in an arm or a leg, but it sort of comes out of the blue.
For some children, that weakness can turn into paralysis as the virus causes inflammation in the spinal cord. That paralysis or weakness can be reversed over time in some cases. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
When we get back, an update on a big day in the impeachment inquiry against the president.
Plus, Star Wars fans get a galactic giant Christmas present from the studio. You're watching the Bipsy News, and we'll be right back.
After a tough few weeks off the court, the NBA got the 2019-2020 season underway. And while the defending champion Raptors were getting their rings north of the border, the MVP that powered last year's title run was in LA with his new team trying to take down the King James in a battle for SoCal supremacy. There's a new sports update coming up on the other side of this break, so stick around.
Us. It's what this country is made of. A helping hand, a shoulder to lean on. Us is all of us. Different looks, different voices.
Hello.
One sacred bond. But right now, that bond is fraying. Where do we find common ground? How do we get back to us? The why fills the gaps and bridges our divides. It's a place where we can become us again. Now, more than ever, the why needs your support. Because where there's a why, there's an us. For a better us, donate to your local why today.
For many young men, the road to a good education and career begins with a single, simple step: registering with the Selective Service. Registration is required for many college loans, grants, and scholarships, job training programs, and millions of jobs. In many places, you need to register at the time you get your driver's license. Be sure to check. Fortunately, it's easy. You can get help at your school, find a mail-in form at the post office, check the box on the FAFSA form, or register online at sss.gov, where you can also learn more about taking this important step.
Welcome back to the BIPC News, and with the new sports update, I'm Caleb Lemon. The NBA's regular season began last night with a huge doubleheader featuring the most talked about teams this offseason. First, the defending champion Toronto Raptors got their title rings and unveiling their banner before playing host to the New Orleans Pelicans. After the Toronto Raptors players were presented with the largest title rings in NBA history, they immediately went to work defending their title, and defend is exactly what they did against the talented but still incredibly young New Orleans team, forcing the Pelicans into 19 turnovers, leading to 22 Toronto points. Despite the turnovers, it still took them to go to overtime before the Raptors put the Pelicans away. Got it done, but with a 13-5 run in extra time, the Raptors were able to open up with a 130-122 win. Gentry, of course, knows all about losing a star player. New Orleans lost star Anthony Davis after a very messy feud towards the end of the last season, finally resulting in the team sending Davis to the Los Angeles Lakers for a handful of former top 3 picks and future draft choices. That's not all. Zion Williamson, as he is expected to miss 6 weeks following surgery on his right knee Monday. Speaking of Kawhi Leonard and Anthony Davis, after their former teams finished playing each other, they got to play their first game with their new teams going against each other. The Clippers and Lakers not only share the city of Los Angeles, but for one or more years, they also share the Staples Center as home court. So last night wasn't just a battle for the city, but it was also to see who would start the year as king of the castle. Despite being tied going into the fourth quarter, the Clippers opened with a 19-7 run and never looked back, coasting to a 112-102 victory to claim round 1. LeBron James almost notched a triple-double with 18 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists, while newcomers Anthony Davis and Danny Green added 25 points and 28 points respectively for the purple and gold team. Kawhi had 30 points to lead all scorers, and without a fellow star Paul George, the team used a group effort to give Leonard the help he needed, with 4 players all scoring in double digits, led by 6-man Louis Williams, who had 21, and Montrezl Harrell, who had 17 and 7 rebounds. The league kicks off a full slate of opening games tonight. That's all I've got for you today, but coming up on a special Friday sports update, James Farrar will get you the World Series, where the Astros are trying to win their second title in 3 years. I'm Caleb Lemon, and let's get you back to the news desk.
The presidents of Russia and Turkey met in the Russian resort town of Sochi yesterday as it marked the last day of a 5-day ceasefire between Turkey and the Syrian Kurdish fighters. Before the meeting ended, Russia and Turkey had come to a wide-ranging agreement that will, amongst other things, establish joint Russian-Turkish patrols along the Syrian border. With the U.S. completely pulling out of the region at the president's order, an order which both Russia and Turkish officials applaud, it appears that the fate of the Kurdish people will now be decided by the 2 regional strongmen who do not care what happens to them.
Democrats on Capitol Hill claim they've reached explosive evidence in their impeachment investigation into President Trump. The information coming from the top American diplomat in Ukraine during his testimony on Capitol Hill today. Bill Taylor, America's top diplomat in Ukraine, testified in a closed hearing on Capitol Hill that President Trump ordered aid be withheld from Ukraine unless they publicly launched an investigation into the Bidens. The White House slammed Taylor's testimony as a, quote, smear campaign. This comes at a time when the president is facing backlash from both Democrats and Republicans after likening the impeachment investigation to a lynching.
Cell phone cases are designed to set your phone apart, but a new prototype is designed to feel like a human. Jeremy Roth has more, and take a look at this.
Today we're going to talk about this newly developed phone case prototype that's designed to feel like human skin. But I just have to do something real quick. Ew. Okie dokie, now that that's done. The Peculiar Project is a team effort by researchers from France and England. It uses silicone to mimic the feel of skin and sensors to feel your touch. It can detect and differentiate between tickling, pinching, and caressing, and the skin even sends signals to the phone which can respond with emojis. The developers say the device aims to explore the intersection between man and machine. It's only a project at this stage and doesn't appear to be for sale yet. And in significantly less unsettling news, 11,000 zombies were spotted on the streets of Key West, Florida. That's right, move over, Walking Dead, make way for the Biking Dead. Zombies on Wheels rolled through Key West for the Fantasy Fest Zombie Bike Ride. Skeletons, evil clowns, undead brides, and a variety of other figures roamed through the city's streets, and organizers say roughly 11,000 people participated in the eerie event. It's part of a 10-day annual festival and culminated with a zombie street party. I mean, I don't know what to fear more, flesh-eating zombies or flesh-reading cell phones. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We're going to take one quick final break, and when we get back, Abby Colvin will have a look at the latest minute weather forecast.
You've seen how recent hurricanes have devastated whole communities, flooding and destroying.
Most Americans will need long-term care at some point, and it's not covered by Medicare or health insurance. Fortunately, a life settlement can be the answer. You sell your life insurance policy to an investor and get an immediate cash payment that's generally 4 or more times greater than you'd get for a lapsed or surrendered policy. The investor pays the premiums and collects the benefit when the time comes. Learn more from the Life Insurance Settlement Association and find life settlement professionals at lisa.org.
At least one thing in your life is easy to control. Fujitsu offers a full line of energy-efficient ductless heating and cooling systems that lets you control the individual temperature in each room, no matter what's going on. And our new Wi-Fi enabled systems allow you to control it from anywhere. This means customized comfort and energy savings, where and when you want it, at your control. Fujitsu. Infinite comfort. To learn more, visit fujitsugeneral.com.
Star Wars fans get their latest look at the last chapter of Skywalker Saga. The official and final trailer for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is out now, and the 2-minute-long trailer takes viewers through the many galaxies of the Star Wars universe. The movie is the 9th and final episode in the Skywalker story, and is Disney's latest film in the massively popular Star Wars franchise, which it bought from Lucasfilm in 2012 at a price of $4 billion. The 4 Star Wars movies that the studio has released since buying the franchise has totaled a little over $4.5 billion. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker comes out December 20th, and pre-sale tickets went on sale Monday night.
The city of Chicago is proceeding in its case against former Empire actor Jussie Smollett. A federal judge ruled Tuesday that the city can seek reimbursement for police overtime connected to Smollett's claim that he was a victim of a racist and homophobic attack. Lawyers for Smollett argued that the actor couldn't have known how much time and money the department would spend looking into Smollett's claim. The city of Chicago says its police overtime bill was $130,000.
Ford versus Ferrari sees its top 2 actors racing towards the same Oscar award, plus entertainment news including movie, music, and home video. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
need a pure racer behind the wheel of your car. That's Ken Miles.
I don't trust him an inch.
We heard he's difficult.
No, Ken's a puppy dog.
Ford v Ferrari stars Christian Bale and Matt Damon are in the same lane this awards season. Most films with 2 male leads bump one to supporting status for awards consideration to avoid hurting each other's chances. But Damon and Bale will both compete in lead actor categories for the Oscars, Golden Globes, and other film honors.
Bring my flowers now while I'm living.
Tanya Tucker and Brandy Carlisle reteam for Tucker's latest music video, Bring My Flowers Now. Carlisle, a producer on Tucker's album While I'm Livin', plays piano as Tucker sings about showing those you love appreciation before it's too late.
To my big brother George, the richest man in town.
You've never seen It's a Wonderful Life like this. Paramount spent more than a year restoring the classic film from the original negative for its debut on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. The Frank Capra fable starring Jimmy Stewart, along with special features about the film and its restoration, hits stores October 29th, just in time for Christmas shopping. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That's right.
We're almost out of time, but one last thing before we go. Let's check back in with Abby Colvin with the weather recap.
I'm Abby Colvin. Now let's take a look at the outdoor weather. On Wednesday, there's going to be a high of 77 and a low of 50. On Thursday, there's going to be a high of 78 and a low of 55. And on Friday, there's a 65% chance of rain with a high of 60 and a low of 50. This was Abby Colvin. Let's take it back to the news desk.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Bipsy News. I'm Shaquille Jefferson.
And I'm James Farrar. From all of us here, thank you for making us your source for news. Have a great rest of the day, and we hope we see you next time.